The rain hammered against the military base windows as Lieutenant Sarah Chen rushed through the corridors, her heart pounding with a mixture of exhaustion and determination. She'd been traveling for 18 hours straight, her promotion orders clutched tightly in her rain-soaked jacket. After 15 years of clawing her way up through the ranks, facing discrimination at every turn, she was finally about to take command of the Pacific Naval Division. But what happened next would shake the very foundations of military protocol. The mess hall was packed with soldiers grabbing their evening meal when Sarah pushed through the heavy doors. Her civilian clothes were wrinkled from the long journey, her hair disheveled, and without her uniform, she looked like just another visitor. She spotted the service counter and approached, hoping to grab something quick before reporting to headquarters. "Excuse me," she said politely to the burly sergeant behind the counter. "Could I get—" "Hold up right there." The sergeant's voice boomed across the mess hall, causing dozens of heads to turn. Sergeant Mike Rodriguez, a mountain of a man with arms like tree trunks and a scowl that could stop traffic, stepped around the counter. "This area is restricted to military personnel only. Civilians need to use the visitor's entrance." Sarah's jaw tightened, but she kept her voice steady. "I understand the confusion, but I am military personnel. I just arrived and—" "Don't lie to me, lady." Rodriguez's face flushed red with anger. "I've been at this base for 12 years, and I know every officer here. You think you can just waltz in here in your street clothes and help yourself?" The mess hall had gone completely silent now. Every eye was on this confrontation, watching as the massive sergeant towered over the small Asian woman who barely reached his shoulders. Some soldiers whispered among themselves, others pulled out their phones, sensing drama was about to unfold. "Sergeant, if you'd just let me show you my identification." "I don't want to see any fake ID." Rodriguez's voice cracked like thunder. "I'm tired of people like you thinking you can take advantage of our hospitality. You probably read some blog about getting free military meals and thought you'd try your luck." Sarah's hands trembled, not with fear, but with rage. She'd faced this her entire career, being underestimated, dismissed, treated like she didn't belong. But this was different. This was her base now. Her command. "Sergeant Rodriguez," she said, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper that somehow carried across the entire mess hall. "I strongly advise you to reconsider your approach." But Rodriguez was too far gone, too caught up in his own authority. "Are you threatening me?" He stepped closer, his bulk casting a shadow over her. "You know what? I think you need to learn some respect." And then it happened. In front of 50 witnesses, Sergeant Rodriguez grabbed Sarah by the shoulders and shoved her hard against the concrete wall. Her back hit with a sickening thud, and for a moment, the wind was knocked out of her. The mess hall erupted in gasps and shocked murmurs. "That's what happens when you disrespect our uniform," Rodriguez shouted, his chest heaving with adrenaline. "Now get out of here before I call security." Sarah slowly straightened herself, brushing dust off her jacket. A thin smile played at the corners of her mouth. Not a pleasant smile, but the kind that promised consequences. She reached into her inner jacket pocket with deliberate slowness. "You know, Sergeant," she said, her voice carrying an authority that made several nearby soldiers unconsciously straighten up. "In all my years of service, I've learned that respect isn't taken. It's earned, and you're about to learn exactly what that means." She pulled out a leather folder and flipped it open. The silence in the mess hall became deafening as she held up her credentials. The gold insignia caught the fluorescent light, gleaming like a beacon of authority. "Admiral Sarah Chen, Pacific Naval Division," she announced, her voice now carrying the full weight of command. "Your new commanding officer, and Sergeant Rodriguez, You just committed assault on a superior officer in front of 50 witnesses. The color drained from Rodriguez's face like water from a broken dam. His mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Around the mess hall, soldiers began standing at attention, the reality of the situation crashing over them like a tidal wave. "Ma'am, I didn't. How was I supposed to?" Rodriguez stammered, his earlier bravado evaporating into thin air. "You were supposed to treat every person with dignity and respect," Admiral Chen replied, her voice cutting through his excuses like a blade. "You were supposed to listen instead of assume. You were supposed to embody the values of this uniform instead of hiding behind it." She stepped closer to the trembling sergeant, her presence somehow larger than her small frame. "But most importantly, Sergeant, you were supposed to remember that strength isn't about who you can push around. True strength is about lifting others up, protecting those who need protection, and serving with honor." The mess hall watched in stunned silence as their new admiral continued. "You will report to my office at 0800 tomorrow for disciplinary review. And, Sergeant, you'll be joining our new sensitivity training program, the one I'll be personally overseeing." As Admiral Chen walked toward the exit, her head held high, something extraordinary happened. One by one, every soldier in that mess hall snapped to attention and saluted, not because they had to, but because they wanted to, because they'd just witnessed what real leadership looked like. Sometimes justice doesn't come with fanfare or headlines. Sometimes it comes quietly, in a mess hall, when someone who's been knocked down too many times finally gets the chance to stand tall and show the world what true strength really means.